Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is KarQ. Welcome to the KarKives channel, the KarQ Archives, my casual channel compared to the main channel. It's a lot more candid, lots of gameplay, and today I thought I'd give you my thoughts on all the support heroes at the end of the Overwatch 2 beta. This is beta 1 or 1.2 because there were two patches that happened in between. The last time I did this was right after the alpha, the private alpha that I played in before the beta, and here are my thoughts after playing the entire Overwatch 2 beta. So, starting with Ana, near the end, she received a nerf where the anti-nade had one less second on its anti-duration, but her ammo was buffed from 12 to 15 to compensate. So she's a great solo hero. She can take high grounds by herself, challenge enemies, and she benefits the most being a DPS heavy style. And she can defend against flankers really well, like Tracer, Genji, because the moment Genji deflects or Tracer recalls, your passive can kick in. So great solo hero. In terms of synergy for tanks, I would say Winston is the best for Ana because you can nano him for tempo to build primal and to engage. Alternative best tank synergies include maybe Wrecking Ball or Diva. For DPS combos, I'd say she works really well with Soldier or Genji, who are very meta heroes right now, for some nice Nano Visor or Nano Blade combos. And for support pairings, I think the most common right now is Ana Lucio, which is outdated in Overwatch 1, but works in Overwatch 2 because of that self-healing passive. You don't need the Lucio to peel, Lucio does his own thing, and Ana's a solo hero. They can work off each other. Ana Brig is still good if they're running a really dive-heavy comp, and Ana Mercy also works as well, with Mercy pocketing certain DPS heroes while Ana takes the healing load onto the main tank. Alright, Baptiste. He received a buff near the end of beta 1 with that instant healing on the regen burst. And honestly, I thought he was fine on the first patch of beta, even the second and third, but, you know, sorry, the third one would be the buff patch. But honestly, Blizzard thought he needed some extra love to keep up with the other supports, and I actually disagree. I don't think he needed this because he was already powerful in the right comp. Like, he was already no longer a one-size-fits-all like he was in Overwatch 2, where he fit like every meta comp. His DPS potential is high as hell. He can fight off flankers even better now with that instant flat healing. And then you get that self-regen if you don't take shots for a little bit. It's absolutely insane. With that being said, his best tank pairings right now are Reinhardt and Orisa. Those are number 1. And honestly, any sort of stationary tank works fine with Baptiste as well, like Sigma, Roadhog, Zarya. For DPSs, you don't really pick BAP necessarily with DPSs, like as a DPS pairing. You usually pick them in synergy with your tank. But in any case, any DPSs that kind of play near him can synergize well with him to be in that regen burst range. And what doesn't work with Baptiste very well is really mobile heroes like Tracer, Genji, who run off in the distance because it's really hard to reliably heal them. So how about it's people you don't want to play with Baptiste or those ones. Anybody else can sort of work, like Cassidy or anybody, yeah, again, anybody who plays close with them. For support pairings, Bap Lucio, like Lucio again is such a solo hero, so he works well. Bap Lucio, Bap Zen could be good, Bap Brig is fine as well, but maybe Lucio might be the most common pairing for Bap, strictly because you play Bap with Orisa and Rein, and those comps naturally want a Lucio, so Bap Lucio, fantastic choice for those ones. For Brig, honestly, Brig is strong as hell. She didn't receive any other changes since the first beta patch, and people downplayed her so much at the beginning because she lost her stun on her shield bash. But you have to remember, shield bash got one nerf and gained like 5 buffs to compensate. Like farther distance, the 50 damage buff, shorter cooldown, can go through barriers, and it triggers Inspire. Like, what? That's insane. And her rally, I think, got nerfed because it uses overhealth now instead of armor, so, but it's still like a pretty good sustain ultimate. Not as powerful, but overall, Brig is still a menace because she's really hard to kill, and all you do is just hold up your shield for like half a second, or sorry, not half a second, hold up your shield for a second, and then the support passive kicks in, and in conjunction with the Inspire passive, she can pretty much be full health really quickly if you take any sort of poke or chip damage. Just generally speaking, poke comps in Overwatch 2 were kind of nerfed just because supports can sustain themselves really well now. And then if they can sustain themselves, they don't have to use cooldowns on themselves, and then they can heal off onto the other DPSs and tanks who need it. In terms of synergy for tanks, you actually don't pick Brig so much for tank synergy, but more for DPS and support pairing. So common Brig comps include Tracer, Echo, Genji, anybody who's really mobile, so Brig can just pack them in the distance. And then for supports, the number 1 synergy with Brig is probably Zen, because you cover his weakness of being a vulnerable dive target. Same with Ana, but Zen and Ana aren't really that vulnerable anymore with all their buffs they received, and that just makes Brig Zen even more unkillable. As the number 1 comp, Brig Ana being number 2. Low key, I think Brig Lucio is actually pretty good in Overwatch 2, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't think it'll ever become played too much, but like low-key, I was like theory crafting. I'm like, dude, Brig Lucio in theory is actually really good. And maybe some teams are going to start whipping it out soon. Who knows? Now, and for Lucio was a big winner in Overwatch 2 with the whole passive support healing, which basically allows him to stay on speed, boost the entire time, wall skim around, go red at Lucio, and you know, you get your passive healing the whole time. It just kicks in with the support. You don't have to switch to heal aura, making him on like a higher speed aura uptime, which, you know, fast things that go fast and mobility tends to do well in games like Overwatch or Apex. Movement is always king or queen, whatever you want to call it. In any case, Lucio actually received a nerf near the end of the beta patch where they cut his self-healing from the aura by half. But realistically, when you see it side by side, I had a video on this, it really didn't affect it too much as long as the support passive is kicking. It's quite minor, so despite the nerfs, I still think he's really good. Great for Reddit solo kind of play style, not so much with the team. If you play a Rhine or an Orisa slow comp, sure, you can play with the team. But other than that, he benefits a lot from assassinating people, which is again why poke kind of sucks, because Widowmakers and slow poke heroes can kind of get owned by just Lucio running around and annoying you. For tank synergies, again, he works best with Rhine and Orisa, but anybody who can benefit from the speed can, you know, do just fine. Even Zarya, Sigma, that's fine too. But in general, Lucio kind of plays for himself to assassinate backline. So you'll still see Lucio being played with like Winston comps, ball comps sometimes, just in pair with like Ana, whatever, it's fine. DPSs, he in theory works well with Reaper and Mei or anybody who needs to get close, but again, Lucio plays for himself. And support as well, like Ana Lucio's good, Moira Lucio, Bap Lucio, they're all totally cool. Anything kind of fits with Lucio, it's kind of crazy now. All right, now for Mercy. Mercy can now Giga Jump at the end of the beta 1.2 patch. That's right, Giga Jump. Basically, they added Crouch as a button to cancel Guardian Angel automatically, which allows Mercy to super jump on cooldown as needed, or Giga Jump if you do the right inputs. Kind of crazy, and I thought that was actually an okay, but kind of a nerf right now, just because people are kind of using it stupidly. At least near the end of the beta patch, people were kind of just flying up in the air vertically without real control over it and getting sniped non-stop. But I think over time, Mercy players will adapt and have like an extra tool for it to kind of enable them to do what they want to do eventually. But we had like 4 days to play on that patch. Not enough time for the Mercy players to pop off on it, but I think it's okay. It's like an extra option for them to have, especially when you consider how Zen and Baptiste and everybody got all these cool support buffs. You gave Mercy a little bit of love, especially because her identity of having that unique passive in Overwatch 1 where she self-regenerates after not taking damage. It's not unique anymore since all supports have it, so they gave her something with the Giga Jump, so I'm okay with that. For tank synergies, I mean, you don't really pick Mercy for the tank synergy per se. It's all about pairing with the DPSs, so Echo, Pharah, and Ashe are probably the top DPS pair choices. And then for supports, I like Ana Mercy as one of my favorite Mercy comps, and Mercy Zen for like the damage modifier comp where, you know, Discord and Mercy damage boost. It's like a breakpoint comp, even though it's not a real name for it, but that's what I like to call it. All right, now for Moira. At the beginning, I was saying she was the biggest winner early on in the beta, but she actually got less and less playtime over time. Even in pro play, like she's still being played with Lucio more, but she's not as popular because pros are playing a lot of the Ana with the tank synergy. But Moira in solo queue, especially if they added comp, I think Moira would be a really great pick still, because survivability and speed are like the two biggest things for support heroes in Overwatch 2, and Moira's kind of got both. Obviously not necessarily like speed, but Fade kind of gives you mobility. Mobility is a better word than speed. And the moment you press Fade, that support passive kicks in, which makes her a crazy strong 1v1 hero. Fade's out of danger, can get that little jump at the end to reposition. Damage orb and sucking enemies off is pretty much a 1v1 guaranteed win on most heroes, squishy heroes at least. And if you need to survive that heal orb and self-heal and the suck with the passive and the Fade, I don't know. Insane by herself. Insane solo hero in this game. Tanks, I think her best synergy is like anybody who's brawly, like Rhine Orisa's fine, even Winston on certain maps. You don't really pick Moira to sync with any DPSs, and then so I think I'm gonna skip the supports. I think the best support is probably just Lucio, if you guys want to play as a comp. If not, play solo. Zen got the 25 HP buff and the snap kick passive at the end of beta patch 1.2 that kicks any divers off that gets near him. But honestly, that kick is a bit more situational. Obviously, it could probably deter most dive comps or Winstons from jumping him, but the biggest change was honestly that 25 extra shield HP, because 25 extra HP changes a lot of breakpoints. Like Hanzo can no longer 3 tap you, sorry. Ana can no longer 3-tap you in the distance. Like, that's a very, very big change for his overall tankiness. And obviously, if they get close, they take a bigger buffed 45 damage kick, knocks them back. I think I saw a few clips of Zen kicking like Winston's down from like Route 66 or Dorado's second when they try to jump to him. So honestly, I think Zen is low-key OP as hell for that reason, especially when you add like Brig to the table. Brig Zen comps in the next beta patch wave, if they give it enough time, would probably be the meta comp in all things considered. So in terms of tank synergy for Zen, I think the best one's probably like a Ball comp with the Zen Brig, because you can discord someone in the distance. Ball doesn't necessarily need as many healing resources as other tanks because you can roll to health packs. Like a Ball Sombra hacking a health pack, letting Ball roll to it, engage with a discord in the distance. Zen Brig is probably like another comp that could probably pop the fuck off eventually. But yeah, Ball is probably one of the best tank synergies. For DPSs, anybody who can benefit from the heal orb to help 1v1 duels, like Tracer, Genji, Echo, could use the healing orb and could run off in the distance and use it really well and effectively. And for support pairings, Brig, number one. Brig Zen, I think, you know, covers his weakness of being vulnerable. Like, obviously he has 25 HP in the snap kick, but he could still be dove, like, against multiple like dive heroes. You can't fight off 4 people by yourself, but with Brig you might be able to survive long enough to enable the discord, all that fun stuff. So Brig is your best support pairing. Secondary support pairing would probably be either a Mercy or a Baptiste, maybe like Zen Mercy for the damage modifier comp, and then Zen Bap for a slower comp, maybe an Orisa or Ryan slow comp, but that probably won't be too much of a thing. Go for Brig Zen. That's the play. Anyways, that's my final thoughts on the support heroes in Overwatch 2. Let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys are looking forward to the next beta wave, which is going to happen on June 16th, I believe that's the right date. I think it is. We'll check it after. But in any case, peace. See you later. Thanks for watching.